Don't move your dial. This is not a repeat. This is new. I know you saw Norm and I sitting here for 3 months solid last year on a little 30-second commercial, so to speak, I called it. It was a free commercial, by the way, by Hometown Cable. There's no charge for that, just to push the computer programming. And we're here today to congratulate Norm, number one, and to see just what's happened during this drive last year when the successful drive with the $12,000 was raised. What's going on here? I'm Bob Venn, and the guest today again is Norm Bono. He's no stranger to you people out there, teacher at NCCS, and thanks again, Norm, for agreeing to be with us. And
thank you, Bob.
To see what has happened. And first thing here is a nice little program that you've put up, kind of.
Yes, this is a little 18-page booklet that we put together, thanking all the people who have helped us and a lot of the things that we have done. Also, I have a lot of quotes from different messages and letters that people sent me along with their donations and how they felt about what I was trying to do and what we were doing here at school.
Okay. Now, when this started off, the overall program, how did it meet your expectations?
Oh, yes, probably much greater than I expected. I had people call up and willing to try anything, and we did many different fundraisers, but there are many others we could have done had we had the manpower or the time.
Your goal was $12,000. Did you surpassed your goal?
Well, we reached the $12,000. It didn't cost quite as much for the 3 programs. We had $1,000 left over. So, and that was divided into 5 different checks, $200 to the 5 schools. So they've used the $200 to buy supplies for the kids, to buy software in one of the classes, to buy art supplies in the high school and junior high, since it's probably where we're hurting more for supplies right now. So
okay.
They've all been used up.
Now, you certainly don't advocate doing something like this every year.
No.
Shouldn't have to do it in the school system.
It's an awful lot of work, and it's not the way to fund education.
No. It's just like, running St. Mary's Church our school, should not be done by bazaars or bingos.
Right.
There should be money there for a very worthwhile project as we have at a Catholic school. So, in the same here, if computers are important, and I know how important they are, to me, and I can imagine just how important they are to the young people coming up, you've got to have computing.
Absolutely. I mean, today is probably as important as math and English and the other subjects. It's something that should be mandated. You cannot find a job any place today, really, without some use of the computers. It might be just 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day, but you will have to put something down on a computer program of some sort. So the kids have to be aware, and they've got to be given a chance to get these courses, to have these courses.
Well, this started last October. Tell us, was it pretty steady all the way through? Were there spurts and jumps, and what happened?
It took a little while for the community to really know what we were trying to do. So it started kind of slow, and it just kept rolling and rolling better and better as the time went on. We started with a couple of fundraisers. One was a spaghetti supper at the Pier restaurant, and we also had a raffle of an Afghan and a gingerbread house that Peg Chevalier had made for us, and from then on it just was one thing after another.
I noticed one of the first things in here is a special thanks to the Pier restaurant for sponsoring 2 spaghetti dinners, and I guess they donated the materials, right?
They donated the materials. Howard cooked the spaghetti, took care of the cooks, and Doris waited on tables. 2 other waitresses donated their time. I had some of my kids from my Accounting 2 class. They washed dishes, they picked up and cleaned the tables. So everything was donated, the spaghetti, the food, everything. So everything we made there was clear.
Right, they donated the restaurant, the food, the time,
everything.
Their energies. The waitresses donated their time, the students volunteered their time, cleaned tables, washed dishes, and of course everyone that do things like this. And well, Howard is a great promoter of help for the children anyway around. He always has been,
right
around the area.
So one of the things that I found in doing these, they turn out to be a lot of fun. I mean, the people who come there, we sat and chatted, and sometimes it'd stay an hour after, different people who hadn't seen each other for a while and talked about different things. So
now you started out, of course, with a sizable donation yourself to get this kicked off, and as I recall, you pledged that if it didn't reach the 12,000, you were going to have another donation at the end. You must have been doubly pleased that you didn't have to do that.
I was a little worried there.
Oh, of course. You end up a couple $1,000s short. You'd be borrowing money to, and that's not the way it should be, Norman. No. And it's very pleased that now the Bowl Mart sponsoring three successful tournaments, donating all 16 lanes to use on Monday nights after 9. No bowling fees were charged. All proceeds went to help NCCS Drive.
That's right. We've had 3 for this program. And again, it's all donated. A lot of the kids bowled themselves, and they had a great time. Since then, the hockey team has been looking for some help, some fundraisers, and I've had 2 others since our project has been finished. And we just had one this last Monday. And these have been just about all kids, and they've had a blast.
Great.
So we raised over $1,000 for the Help NCCS Fund, and we've raised another $900 for the hockey club and the bowling team.
This is recently?
This is recently.
So that $1,000 went to the supplies?
No, this 1,000 went to the hockey.
Oh,
team.
you gave it to, okay. Yeah. To Peg Chevalier, who donated an Afghan and gingerbread house for a raffle that earned over $400.
All right.
Northwear Fashions donating 4 down ski jackets for a raffle that earned over $400 again. Somebody else, go ahead, Norm. Danny's Pub.
Danny Boyer called me up and said that he would run a turkey raffle for me if we wanted to do that. I'm gonna have to cut.
Oh, we got someone coming in. Stand by. Another job done, Norm. Yeah, we're talking about Dan and Barb Boyer.
Yes. So Dan had called me up and said he would run a turkey raffle for me. He organized the caller, the salespeople. So all I had to do was just basically get some people there. So I went to Lakewood Markets to get the turkeys for the raffle. And when I talked to Dale Menard, and he showed me the turkeys, and I told him I need 20, he donated the 20 turkeys. I mean, these are the types of things that went through from the beginning to the end. I mean, everybody really working together and helping out.
One of the reasons that we're here, Norm wanted to talk about this, was for people like that they should be recognized for that. They've done it, and that's for all, not for Norm. Please, no. It's not for Norm. It's for all those young people that need the computer courses. Champlain Telephone Company for including in their November billing an insert about the Help NCCS fundraiser. Don't think that's a little thing. You're talking how much money they saved them at 29 cents a piece mailing out all these notices.
It came in at a very nice time, but some people now are beginning to be aware of it. It was a reminder. The address was there. So right after that, I got a lot of donations, and a lot of them have included the little insert from the telephone company, so I know that was a great help. Okay.
And then I knew this from before. D&D Meat Groceries from Scioto donated the meat for the spaghetti dinners. Howard donated everything else, and D&D offered to pay for the meat, right?
When he had heard about Howard donating everything, then he said, well, I'd like to donate the hamburger for him. So again, that's just someone just jumping in to help.
And who is he?
Yeah, who is D&D Meats?
That's Adrian Dutel up in Scioto.
Yeah, and his wife's name?
Sharon.
Sharon. They have a son who had his name in the paper recently here and quite active in the school, right?
Very active. Jason, excellent.
Jason Dutel. We want to congratulate him for the latest award that he had with the public speaking, right? He's into public speaking very much. And we hope he does very well at Middlebury College.
Middlebury College.
Okay, and of course, you better read the next one. I hate to use my own name.
To Calvin Castine and Bob Venn and Channel 21 for giving the project the exposure and attention it needed to reach and gain the support of the community. And I know these people, if they watch 21, saw it many, many times. Stop now and listen.
I wondered if they wouldn't turn it off there for a while. I was every time I said, I saw you on TV last night. I said, we weren't on last night. He said, oh yes, you were. It was about the computers, you know. And to over 500 individuals and businesses who donated their money and time to help raise the $12,000. Now, how did this little program, this 18-page, get?
Peter Stone did most of the work. I gave him the information, and I had many, many quotes again from the different people who donated and kind of put them together. And Peter set it up. He got a new program on the computer, and with a lot of hard work and a lot of time, he put this very nice booklet together.
Very nice. For instance, we think it's wonderful what you're trying to do for the students. We wish you much success in attaining your goal. And then there's, say, 20 names or so listed after that, and on the top of the other one it says, here's a little something to help out the kids. Little comments that came with the money. I agree 100% with what you are doing. What you're trying to do, it will be a big plus for the whole school if you can pull this off. I would be glad to help you in any endeavor you attempt to undertake. These kind of comments that came in along the way.
Here's the one that I particularly was pleased with, because I realized that my donation is small, but at least it is something. If I can be of any assistance to you in any other way, please don't hesitate to contact me. As a former student and a graduate of NCCS, I'll do all I can to help you. Good luck. I mean, there was a lot of sentiment like this, and that was very, very helpful and really kept me going.
Right. I recognize the names here. Will these be available for people to...
Yes, I have over 100 of these coming out in the near future, and I'll try to get them out in the community. So.
Okay, you're not going to mail them to people. You're not going to spend...
I will hand deliver a few of them, like to Howard and to Dale Menard and to Adrian and the ones who really went out of their way and did a lot for me in the project.
Sorry we can't spare more right now. Things are tight with 2 in college. You're doing a great service for your community. Keep up the good work.
That particular individual made another donation later on.
That's great. Not much, but every little bit helps. With good luck for the drive. Here's one. We do think that education is very important, and there are ways of raising funds without raising taxes. We know that you will reach your goal. We would love to have our names plastered on your wall. Now, this is a bone of contention. We sat here and for maybe half an hour back in September, and for every night it was shown on TV. It said that the names would be posted at school. Now, people have told me that, why did I say that? Because they weren't posted in school. At least they never saw their name. Now, was there a special place in school?
Well, there was. It was by the computer room, and I did have them up. I had 26 long sheets, and the kids had set it all up. And we had started putting the names down, but I was told to take them down. We had a few problems, and a few teachers thought that if their name wasn't on the list, that it wouldn't look good, so they didn't think it was a good idea to have the names on the wall. And it wasn't the intention of whose name wasn't there. It was basically to show and to, I don't know, reward or just to recognize the people who did donate and did help.
You didn't list those people who were not giving, right?
No.
So the administration said that or the school board
the administration, yes,
decided it'd be better not to have it up.
So they asked me to take them down.
Okay. You people that watch Hometown Cable regularly, Channel 21, every day, you did notice that when at least one night a week, when they talked about, I guess it was Saturday night, when they talked about how the fund was going, Calvin, Hometown Cable, did put the names on TV, so they were shown back then, and I was a little disturbed when I saw this jumping names going by here 3 at a time, and I was told that might have something to do with you or someone else from the school. Who made up that program? Do you know?
No.
You don't know who made that up? Did you make that up, Calvin? No, he didn't make it. Well, someone else did. And it jumped 3 at a time. It was a little disturbing to watch, but it was there. It took the place of what wasn't on the wall. So, well, was there a lot of problem at school with you, Norm, on this? Because you were doing something like this for the kids?
There were some. There were some teachers and some administrators who were not 100% behind it. They didn't feel that, again, it was the place of the community or myself to, fund education. They thought that if it was voted out of the budget, that people should have been left without it.
Well, no, you just said something. It never was voted out of the budget, was it? Who voted it out of the people never voted?
No.
Computers never came to their attention, did it?
It was cut.
All right.
Before the budget was proposed to the people.
Okay, now
we had large state cuts. We cut our driver's ed program, we cut the pool program, and we also cut a few computer classes that we had.
Okay, now at one time, people were, I know I've heard some of the school board meetings, somebody was pushing for the driver ed, someone was pushing for the pool to keep it open, someone was pushing for some of the other things, and they had separate, I shouldn't say a drive, but they had a separate vote in each of those. Computers never came into that.
Never
You think
came
they
into
should have
that.
been? You think it should have been?
Probably, yes, definitely. I know that the community wants these courses. I mean, just the results of the drive, and from talking to people, everyone basically understands that we need to have computer courses in our school. We've got to give our kids the chance to learn computers, and before we send them out on their own.
They got to compete with people
They have
who do have computers,
And
right?
right now, with the job market the way it is, and the way things are with the economy, I mean, we certainly can't start behind our neighbors and the rest of the state.
Okay, what happened then? All right, and then you got the money, and starting in January, there was two new classes, one new class. What happened?
There's 3 new classes. 2 of them are keyboarding, the 10-week keyboarding courses on 7th and 8th grade in the junior high, so that they learn how to use the keyboard so that they can type and use the keyboard when they use the computer courses. The 3rd course is a junior-senior high school, and that's a computer course, basic computer literacy.
When you say keyboarding, is this the old course I took to learn how to type?
It's learning how to type. It's
Are there
learning
typing classes in school too?
in the high school. They're typing courses.
Okay.
Yes,
But you can't really run a computer well unless you know where the keys are and you can
right.
hunt around.
And these are 10-week courses, so we've got over 100 kids signed up for just that one thing.
A phone call.
Okay, we'll take a break. There's a phone call coming in, and it's not for me. Norm, I'm of course engrossed with $12,000. Everybody thinks $12,000 does not buy an awful lot of computers. Did you buy any computers?
No,
with
we
the
didn't buy any computers. We have the computers. We had 2 rooms, one in the junior high and one in the senior high, totally equipped with all good, nice, good computers with printers, except that we didn't have anyone teaching them. The doors were locked. That's basically what the premise that I started with. We had to open the door and use them.
All right, now, so you had to hire new teachers this year, starting in January, to teach these 3 courses?
Well, they're not new teachers. We have one who was cut back last year because in social studies we cut back some of the classes. So she's teaching one of the keyboarding classes. We had another one in English, another teacher in English who had been cut back. She's teaching the 2nd class. The computer class was taught by the person who taught computers last year, who's a math teacher.
So you're telling me that a teacher was earning a third of her normal salary or 40% of her normal salary, and by getting this extra course, she got an extra 10% or 12% more salary?
It's another 20% because it's a fifth. You give her another fifth of her salary.
Okay. How do you pay her that part of her salary as being a separate fund with $12,000? How did that $12,000 get into the school system and into the teacher?
Mr. de Grand Prix had figured out exactly what it would cost with the benefits and so on. And he gave me a bill. So he knew exactly how much it would cost. So
you turn that much money to them, and it comes in as another source of income.
Another source of income, right.
And it goes out as normal money in the school budget.
It's going to be going out with her regular salary.
Okay, now, this is for 7th and 8th graders only.
The keyboarding.
The
2
keyboarding,
classes,
okay.
Right.
The 8th grade is taking it next year, or last year it's the 8th grade. This year didn't have any computing, is that right?
That's right.
And the people who are taking keyboarding this year, if they don't use it, they're going to lose it. That's an old expression, right? What happens to those people next year? Are we going to have any computing next year?
Well, that's something that's been worked on by a certain committee, but we have to make sure that to let the board know that the community would support having these programs, because in these times when they're looking to cut, because we're getting cut back all the time, it's very difficult to start or reinstate or to mandate anything. But I think this is extremely important. I know the board does also. I worked with the board this summer. They feel that the computer courses are important. And now after this drive, I hope that they will reinstate and start some new programs so that as freshmen next year, they will have step 1. Then the following year, we could go on to the second level, develop the computer courses even more, and all the way through.
But anybody who's a freshman, sophomore, junior this year would have nothing, like they did this year.
It would be very difficult,
Okay.
probably, to start it all at once.
And this
It
would be
great if we could.
Okay, this would be part of the budget. It would not be a separate drive or anything like that.
This has got to become.
You don't want to go through this every year. There's no way you would you? I don't want to
No.
send a donation in every year. I'm paying my taxes, and it should be, if it's important, we should try to do it. And we're not going to get any more state aid this year than before, but I think the people should have an input on what they want for their students. Do you feel that as a taxpayer?
Absolutely. And that's my main goal with this whole project, was to show that the community felt and would support this. This wasn't the right step by cutting computers. We have to find the money someplace else if we have to cut.
See, don't take me wrong on what I think I'm going to say here. I don't know what I'm going to say yet, but the pool is important. You need it health-wise and everything else, but it's not going to help you make a living. It's not going to get you a job. To me, my grandchildren, they're going to be much more important to have computers available to them than to have pool, maybe even driver training. I think driver training is important, but I think it's more important for each one for their livelihood. They'll learn to get to work even without driver training, although it's good. They need computing.
They need computers, absolutely.
How are the people out there going to impress this on our board, our teachers? I guess our teachers don't decide what we're going to have. You don't decide what the courses are going to be. No. You'd like to maybe because you know it's important, but you can't. How do we impress our board? I don't want to be. You want to elect me so I can put computers? I don't want to do that. Tell your board members.
You've got to tell your board members. I think this is going to tell the board members.
All right.
The board right now has an extremely difficult job, probably the toughest that they've ever had. And they're under extremely a lot of pressure from the state. The state is probably the culprit in all this, but we have to pay and we have to live here. So I think if the board knows now that the community wants the programs, we've got a chance of putting it in. If we don't go out and tell them and push for it, well, we'll never get it back in.
Right.
They're not going to start a program when they're looking to cut
Right.
more.
Telephone calls, personal contact with these board members. Go to the school board. Make your points known. It's certainly, if you make a point at the school board, everybody in the district's going to know because hometown cable is there, and they're going to see what you say, and everybody else is going to say yes or no based on what you recommend. No, it's not going to be easy, and the school board members do not get paid.
No,
they got a tough road, and they got to get from both sides. We got a contract coming up. I don't want to get into teachers versus board or versus people very much, but there's a contract coming up, right?
The contract is expiring at the end of this year, right? And negotiating right now for the coming years.
We've got some problems in this community because for various reasons, people think that the teachers get too much money. The teachers may think they get enough money, or they got too much. Aren't too many going to say we get too much? A lot of them are going to say we need more. They deserve more. I deserve more, but I don't get it.
Right.
You know, I need a big raise for my retirement. Any interest I had just dropped down in half. I need money, but I'm not going to get it. I'm not here to say we should not give the teachers a raise. I think the teachers have had good raises over the last 3 years. I think Peru, for instance, asking for 12% is so unreasonable, it's not even worth commenting about.
Right.
What would you like to see for next year now? You're saying you'd like to see the same 3 courses taught,
Right.
and then at least a freshman course.
At least add one each year until these kids, when they graduate, they've had computers all the way through school, and then a program will be established and should be mandated that every child goes through school will have a certain amount of computer course and computer literacy.
Do we have the personnel at the school now to be able to
establish a computer program
course?
like we're talking
Yes.
about, we would need someone probably to oversee and to direct it and to establish it. There's a lot of work here. It's not like math or English where there's a curriculum to follow. A lot of this has to be developed, as you go along. So we need someone who is very, very good in that and who could develop such a program.
Would you have to give that person a full-time salary and he'd only teach computer course?
He'd teach, well, depending if there was enough computer courses, then it would be a regular salary.
Could you teach? Can you teach computer courses?
Could I myself? Yes. Absolutely not.
You're not a good person with computers, right?
No.
I use the computer, but
very few.
I'm not conversant with my computer. It's like my car. I can put gas, change the oil. I know when the tires are down, but I'm not an automatic. I'm not an automotive repairman.
This is going to be a lot more than just teaching. You're going to have to develop the courses as you go along. So it's not just knowing yourself maybe how to do it, but the materials, you're going to have to get the materials, develop the materials, and just keep.
All right. When we were here last fall, Norm, and I don't know this person then very well, but I know you mentioned his name, and people who talked to me said he's a great young teacher, and it's too bad we lost him. And that's a young fellow in the name of Hunter. I don't remember his first name.
Rick Hunter.
Rick Hunter, local boy.
Right.
Where is he now? What happened to him?
He's working at BOCES this year, but it's a one-year job. Again, for the work that I have done in the computers and from my personal feelings, to have a great program, we have only two people who could really do it, and that would be Peter Stone and Rick Hunter. Well, Peter is too important of an English teacher to, he's got his job, but it would be extremely important for us to get Rick Hunter back now. I think we made a big mistake in letting him go. Of course, you don't decide which teachers are going to go when you cut a program, but he happened to be the one. Actually, we lost 3 extremely good teachers last year.
I didn't mean to short anybody. I just remember that name.
Yes.
Maybe we better name the other two, Norm. So no, okay, because I hate to.
Lee Kingsbury. I mean, I feel
of course
bad every day.
Yes.
Well, he was not only a good friend, but a super teacher.
Driver training,
great
right?
with the kids.
Yes.
And John Turco, who's
okay.
established now in Vermont.
Okay.
But Rick Hunter is the person to run that program like that.
It's tough. It's tough. We all have our problems, including teachers, right?
Right.
You hate to see. Now, you're not going to be here forever. You got what, 25 years?
25 years.
25 years. John Zerlo's got 25 plus.
Yeah, he's got 30.
30 years. So
30
that
years,
you need somebody to come up that's
We
going to be
need-
keeping in this program, right?
Right. We need someone who's probably, we'd say, a little younger, who's come in with a computer age.
And Norm, everybody that we know is younger than you and I. Calvin. That's right. Okay, so you're saying that somebody should. I mean, you're suggesting that we should talk to the school board, keep computing in, let the people know at the board that we think the computer is important. How much money are we talking about? Do you think to have a computer course like we got this year, like you've now instituted in the spring here, plus this freshman course, maybe a couple of freshman courses? What are we talking about in money? Are we talking $25,000?
Probably not even quite that much. If you're talking maybe the 3 we have now with one more, or you're probably talking about 20,000. And if you're going to talk, maybe we get 2, and then you're talking 25. Then you're talking about really needing another full-time teacher.
Would that include that teacher teaching something else in addition, or just computing?
Well, right now the 2 keyboarding classes, and Rick, that was his strong suit. He was a business teacher, so he could take the 2 keyboarding classes along with the computer classes we're developing.
Am I wrong then in assuming that you're telling me there are certain computers up in our school right now that are not being used at all?
Until we opened the door in January, unless a teacher was using them in his or her class in a special project, whether it was English or accounting too, like I go in there for a couple of weeks and just using a program, but we're not teaching computers.
Just for 2 weeks. The rest of the weeks you didn't use it.
So the rest of the time,
They were sitting there.
yeah.
All right, now, that brought up a question that we talked about on the way up here, Calvin and I, and he said maybe you could ask, and it's a good question. The Grand Union here, we had these yellow slips, and I know I gave some of mine to St. Mary's, and a lot of people did, and they're going to get 2 or 3 computers, and I'm sure the NCCS is going to get computers.
Yeah, we did.
What will happen to those computers?
They'll go in that same room.
And not to be used.
Not being used.
That's a sin.
It is.
And I think we have to address that. Our board has to address that. We can also say our pool is not being used. I realize that. But they're going to have to just look, if we're talking, everything else is going up in the area, and I've got something in my throat. We're going to take a short break and come right back before I cough. We hope that many of you people will get a copy of this as you, they'll be in various business places in the area, out of town too, maybe?
Yes.
People can see these. They won't be enough for everybody, maybe, but maybe anyone who gets one can make sure you show somebody else about it. And as we were off camera here, Norm was pointing out this letter on the last page to me, and I think maybe we ought to spend just a couple, 3-4 minutes on this, Norm. You want to read that letter to us?
No,
I'll read it. On the very last page, I've been selected. No names. I don't know the name anyway. I have received your letter and must say that it has prompted me to get back to you as I have thought about this whole situation for some time and have very mixed feelings about the entire situation. Now this confuses me. You wrote this person a letter? I thought he was writing to you instead.
He wrote the letter.
He wrote a letter
This
originally?
is his letter.
Oh, this letter. Okay.
Okay, you're going to have to read it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. What you are doing is entirely for the benefit of the children of our district, which is in the long run is for the benefit of the entire community. You are very noble and unselfish in your efforts for the kids and should be commended. On the other hand, now he's going to pick on you, I find it difficult to swallow that it is necessary for one individual to stand and battle for the kids when so many others, the governor, the legislatures, the administrators, the administration, and some teachers, fail to address the root of the problem. You cannot spend what you don't have. Our legislatures must quit mandating what they can't pay for. Our administrators and teachers can't expect to constantly go to the taxpayer for an increase when the source of the taxpayer's revenue is diminishing. It is strictly business. When profits go up, salaries and assets spending go up also. When profits, or in this case, the source of revenue, goes down, salaries must hold and asset spendings cease. No one knows this better than you, a business teacher. In any event, I enclose $100, which I realize isn't much, but hopefully will show you that I support your thoughtfulness to the children. Local person.
Yeah. I mean, this, I think a lot of people felt that same way. They were kind of divided. They were upset with many things. Taxpayers are basically asked two questions. One is to vote on the budget, or ask two things. One is to vote on the budget, and the second is pay your tax bill. And for some people, or for a lot of people, it's becoming very, very difficult. And I think in many of these cases, sometimes we as teachers or administrators are selling it short a little bit. We've got to do a little bit more. We've got to feel a little bit more about what is going on in the community. So I get a lot of response and a lot of basic feeling here that we need to do a little bit more.
We,
the teachers.
Teachers.
And I think it's time that we do a little more. If it means, going without a raise for a year or whatever, it's time for us to do that. We've got to get the support. We've lost a lot of respect in the community, and I think it's extremely important that we have to show, not just ask for it, we're going to have to show and do something to earn that respect. That's the biggest change that I have found in my 25 years, is that the last 3-4 years I felt a big loss of respect generally from the community, and personally that hurts my feelings.
Do you think the students feel that way? You get it from the students also?
A little bit. I think what is happening is that when this is talked about at home and in the community generally, and the kids overhear that, and it gets to be a certain feeling. And it's not just one person, but it gets to be a general feeling. Mm-hmm. And I think we're starting to suffer a little bit from that. We're losing respect even from the kids, making it even tougher in school.
Do you know whether it's affected your teacher, future teachers club or anything like that? Are less students interested in becoming teachers because of this unseen force going on between the community and the teachers and administration?
I think it could lead to that. I think it's like I said, it's only like last 3-4 years that I felt this. Mm-hmm. I think it will take probably a little longer to get that deep into it, but it possibly could happen.
Do you think it's just in Champlain, or?
No, I don't. I think we read about the Peru school teachers and the school board. We've seen the problems that they've had at other places, in Malone and all over. No, it's statewide and it's nationwide. All states. New York State's not the only one having a difficult time with their school systems, and most states are. And a lot of states are cutting out a lot of programs. Some states or some schools are cutting out the whole sports program, or they're cutting out many different activities. I mean, it's a serious situation, and that's why I think that we have to work together. We can't have the teachers versus the community and the taxpayer.
Overall, here and other locations, it's sometimes tougher to get that respect back than it is to maintain it once you got it, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think can happen? How do you think they can do it? Anything? What can the community, and we don't want to get into too many specifics, but you think it can be brought back?
Well, I think so, but we have to come forward. We have to show that we're willing to commit ourselves and that we understand that there's a problem. Right now, to be perfectly honest, and it's my opinion, but I believe there are many teachers right now who do not really feel for the community. They feel it's their duty to just pay their taxes, and they don't have to really do anything. They want the respect back, but they're not willing to step forward and give.
Norm, has this been a personal problem for you at school? Some of the teachers?
Yes, I've had some problems.
You getting some pressure?
At school. I've had pressure at school. It's been a difficult year with the teachers and some of the administration.
You have to believe in something quite a bit.
Oh, you do.
To go through that.
Well, I do. But if you sit in my Accounting 2 class every morning at early in the morning and work with those kids, you know that it's well worthwhile.
Norm, I noticed yesterday's paper, and you people out there were talking, it would be the 19th, there was an article on the first part of the second section of our Plattsburgh paper that said the Taxpayers Association of NCCS, I guess there's a new one, and they're asking people to join, give them ideas and so forth. Have you talked to any of those people? Do you know?
I had before. When I first started the drive, I called them up quite a few times and talked to them, and quite a few who were members of the original Taxpayers Association gave to the fund. They supported this. I just hope that these people who do not want to see any increase and so on make sure they don't take it out on the kids.
Of course, anything that you take out will affect the kids in some way. It's going to, wouldn't you think? They want a zero increase. And now you're advocating, and I don't think it's completely wrong that we have this computer program next year. Listen, I love my computer. I don't know much about it, but it can do so much for me.
Right.
And I wish I did had the chance when I was in school. I took typing, and it's helping me now. I took keyboarding, but on an old manual from Dan Maher and Marge Thornton way back then. But what do you think that the association is going to say when you want to put your $12,000 for computing as it is this semester, and then something added up to $25,000? Are they going to go along with that, you think?
You mean the Taxpayers
The
Association?
Taxpayers Association?
Not unless they see something else that's going to take care of that. But I believe that the reason that the budget was voted down last year was not because they didn't cut enough. I think we lost a lot of votes because they did cut the computer courses. Because they cut driver's ed, we lost some votes. We lost some votes because they cut the pool. There were certain groups and certain parents who were upset about those. So they had some negative votes and some no votes there. I think we had a majority of the no votes were people who were upset with our 3-year contract and the hard time that they were having at home, and they thought that we had received an over abundance contract, whatever you want to say.
Well, I'll go along with part of that. 27% over 3 years, I think, is pretty good. Calvin and I would like something like that. But as Calvin said one time, I think I repeated, if you believe in something, you do take steps. Calvin believes in having the young people on TV and having what's going on in the area known. And Calvin is not making a lot of money. He could get out and do something else and make money. Calvin's a sharp operator. He believes in this, right? And he's doing it. And it's just, he believes in it that much. He quoted at the school board one night how much he makes in the course of a year. And it wasn't an awful lot of money. Not very much money at all. But you have nothing against any particular person. You're not the type of person that holds a grudge against anybody. But you do think, as a businessman, as a business teacher, as that letter said,
right,
you know what's needed, and you need business in this world no matter what job you're going to have later.
Right.
You've got to know business.
See, I was born and raised in a very small community. And I went to a small Catholic school, Sacred Heart in Newport. Then I was hired here at St. Mary's and worked again in a very, very small community. And I've lived here all my life in a small community. And this is my type of life. I would not want to live in a city, but I like to be able to go to a restaurant or any other place and be able to sit down and talk to someone and have at least their respect.
And you feel you lost part of that?
I think so.
Or as a group, not necessarily Norm, but as a group.
As a group.
They talk about teachers in the next booth. It kind of bothers you, right? Because you believe in what you're doing.
Right.
And you believe in the person they're talking about too, probably, right?
Right.
Because they don't really understand out there. We're taking a short break because I don't know where I'm going next here, and we certainly don't want to offend anybody out there, and that's not the intention of Hometown Cable. And I'm going to make a point right now because, as you know, we have no script. I have nothing prepared, and I don't want to hold Hometown Cable responsible or Channel 21 or new channels responsible for anything that's said here today. This is strictly our opinions as they roll out of our tongue here, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's my opinion.
And we have no axe to grind against anybody. We just want to thank these people for the $12,000, let you know what's happening now as a result of your donations, and we want you to know what can happen next year. Because you'll not be asked to do this again. You shouldn't have to do this again. I was very active when they had the first Booster Club. And I worked very, very hard. I raised a lot of money the first year. But I didn't think it was necessary that Bob Van should do that each and every year. And I did not continue after that because you either need it or you don't. And if you need it, then it should be done by the school system. You should not have to make individual drives for these things.
Absolutely.
You agree with that?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back and we'll see if we can agree with something else.
No. Yeah.
You've been watching Hometown Cable. What's going on here? I've been visiting with Norm in his residence here in Champlain. I said here again. We'd like to recap a little bit of what we've been talking about. And I want to make a point real early here, so I don't forget it, that if anybody out there wants to come on Hometown Cable and make any comments about any of the things we've talked about today, the Taxpayers Association, the administration, any of the other teachers, the Teachers Association, or they don't feel they want to be on TV, they want to write a letter, we'll make sure it's read on Hometown Cable. We'd like to give you a chance to give your opinions. We came here mainly to talk about the great response that Norm had with Help NCCS, and so that he could thank you for this, and we've mentioned the main people that did the extraordinary. And at this time, I'd like to ask Norm if you'd like to recap again, Norm, some of the things you've said here over the last few minutes and what you think is going to happen and what should happen at NCCS.
Well, again, the first thing is, again, I want to make sure that everyone knows that I really appreciated all their help, all the hundreds and hundreds of people who either sent in money or words of encouragement or who helped with any of the fundraisers that we've had. I'd like, again, to offer my help as far as working with the community and trying to open up our system and better our system. We do have problems, and we've got to work together to solve some of these problems. They're not short-term problems. It looks like it'll be this way for a few more years, where the state's probably going to be either cutting back or at least not giving us any additional funds. So if there's anything that I can do, I'd be more than willing to help. And I think we have to work with the taxpayers and the Taxpayers Association, taxpayers groups, to try to solve some of our problems.
Norm, it's from what I've heard, read in the past, an awful lot of the cuts that have taken place has been program cuts, not cuts where maybe that going to hurt individuals more. It's been hurt the kids that mostly have been doing the cuts. Is that anywhere near the truth?
A majority of the cuts last year were cutting the programs by cutting the 3-4 departments and drivers had the pool and computer courses. So we cut salaries and we cut the courses that the kids were taking.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to see some major changes in our whole system, whether it's revamping our junior and senior high school into different group, different location, or closing some of the schools. We've had committees working on these for 2, 3, and 4 years. I mean, it's time. I think we need to try something. Even if it doesn't work, we need to try something. We've been just waiting and sitting back, and we need to be a little more aggressive and try something. Work together to change it.
Norm, I don't need thanks when I do something, and neither do you. But do you hear anything from the students who are getting something with this new computer course? Do you hear anything from them for your efforts in this?
The kids at school, through the Hope project, have been extremely helpful, and that's one of the real rewarding parts of working and doing this project. Again, the kids that I have in my accounting classes, my business management class, they're just tremendous kids. Just like when I first started 25 years ago, the kids themselves that I work with, a majority of them are very decent, nice kids, and that's where those are the people that I'd like to help and see and get a decent shot. And I know that my own kids are coming up now in the system, and they need to have a decent shot at jobs in a decent world,
Right.
a decent community.
So it's imperative that the computer program continues into next year?
Absolutely.
It's imperative.
We have to.
Okay. And in closing, anything else, Norm, you want to cover? Anything else at all? As you know, and as you've known for the last couple of times I don't have any schedule. We kind of wing it as we go, and we hope that we cover it. We haven't edited one word out of this that I know of. What we've said is going to be on TV. Is there anything that you're sorry you said today?
No.
Okay.
No.
We haven't made any mistakes that we know of?
I want to know that they are my feelings, that are not the feelings of the majority of teachers or
Okay.
any individuals. There's other people who might feel the way I do, but it's up to them to step forward and to let
Okay.
their feelings known. And so
Right.
some disagree with what I said, and it's the same thing. It's up to them to come forward and let their feelings known.
Okay. Any students out there, as a matter of fact? We didn't mean to leave you out when I was talking before. Any student got any comments from the school? Any student groups that want to say anything on Hometown Cable about this subject, about the curriculum in school, the cuts you've had in school? We'd be glad to talk with you.
With their parents' permission.
With their parents' permission. Okay, with their parents' permission. And we might have to edit some of that if they, but well, we know that you're very capable. If you have something to say about that and you want to get on and with your parents' permission, as Calvin said, because we don't want to get in any problems. Remember this again, Hometown Cable, and because they're showing it, they're not responsible for what I'm saying, and if they thought it was real bad, they wouldn't put it on. I haven't said anything that I'm sorry for, or that I think I shouldn't have said, and if there's anybody out there has any remarks at all, you're welcome to come on TV or drop a note. We'll be glad to carry them. Norm, anything else at all?
Well, I'd like to thank you and Calvin for giving me a chance to share my thoughts and
Sure.
thank the people of the community.
Okay, and again, they're in this book. There's 18 pages here, and there's probably at least 12 or 14 pages of those that have the names of those who helped. And I hope there's one of these in school, so that all you students out there who are getting the advantage of this computer keyboarding and that computer course will know people who believe in you and want to see you progress. And by way of Norm Bono, we gave it to you, not to Norm. It was given to the students. And thank you very much. Don't forget, Hometown Cable. Every day, 1:15, 4:30, 8 p.m., midnight, and again, 8 the next morning. And thank you for your comments. And don't forget, if you're not already one, become a patron.